been on a journey of reconnecting back to my heart. Thing had been shut down since I was about 10.
You had to prise it open.
Crowbar in there.
Hello and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Lucy Davis and I am your host. But I've got the most amazing girl with me today. You know her, you've met her before. She's my soul sister from another mister, that's for sure. And she's coming to Soul School this weekend. So I'm bloody excited to be back with you, girl. How are you doing, beautiful?
Yeah, good today. Yeah, funny old few days, but today good. Coming out of it.
We're back vibing high and readiness for Soul School, Wendy, yeah?
Yeah, back getting there. Yeah, a few funny things have happened over the last couple of days, as you know, as I was talking to you before we went on. So yeah, I've had some amusing stuff happening, which is giving me a little bit of sparkle back.
I think what's actually quite interesting right now is that there are so many people that are focusing on the darker side of things, you know, the news that's been coming out and what's coming next, and we're so distracted with that people are forgetting that planets are in a very interesting alignment right now, which is bringing all of our stuff to the surface. You know, we're also stepping into a very profound period of time energetically anyway, with the new moon incoming, and then obviously stepping into October energy, which I've always said October to December of 2022. Hold on to your panties. So if you think we've got it going on now, girl, I got Soul School in just in the nick of time, you know.
I'm going back to my cupboard in Narnia soon.
Well, babe, I might be joining you with that. I might be joining you with that. So what was fascinating is, I think it was last week, wasn't it? I reached out to you and I went, Wendy, it's been 4 weeks since our last video. I'm shocked.
Yeah, whereas the time, I mean, we're timeless beings. I always say to people, I'm a timeless being. So if you think I'm going to call you back in 2 days, it'll probably be 2 years. And to me, it's like 2 days. But yeah, the 4 weeks has disappeared, hasn't it? I just keep finding myself laying in bed, going to get into bed and going, oh, I'm getting in bed again. Like, where's the day gone? Yeah.
It's fascinating. I was having a chat with a guy earlier today, actually, a really, really nice guy. And we speak about the way we start our days, you know, and he's like, Lucy, and I'm mid doing clients at this point. He's like, Lucy, I'm down the beach. I'm going for a beautiful walk. I can feel the sand between my toes. I'm going to go for breakfast. Then I'm going to go to the gym. And I'm just like, you know, I'm up at the crack of dawn to go running so that I can be back in time to do my clients. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so nice to hear people that are just living in the present moment. And I think that's where we are right now, isn't it, Wendy? Is that we're stepping from this, always having to plan things. And I've become extremely rubbish at planning, even though I've just organised a big event for Saturday. Yeah. I'm not very good at planning anymore. I like to just feel how things are and just navigate the flow and go with it. But bit challenging when you're organising stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for me, the funny thing was, for the last, I've been self-employed now for somewhere around about 15 years. And I'd got myself into a bit of a pattern because of relationship I was going through, and it wasn't the best. And so I'd got myself into a working pattern. It's like the more work I do, the less time I need to spend there. So the happier I'll be in myself, which I do not advise that for anybody, because it didn't work. It just stressed me out, made me anxious, and I had a burnout. But what I'd found was I'd got into this pattern of must work. And all of my work, same as you, is generated by myself.
Of course. Since
2020, since the Gong Show kicked off in 2020, and I lost my dog got diagnosed with cancer in 2020 as well, like March, so as soon as this kicked off. And it's like, right, love him, he was my world, my baby. So it was like, I'm going to spend as much time with you as I possibly can. I always did, because he was my world. Yeah. But it's now like, I'm going to spend as much time with you as I possibly can, because I know I've got about 12 months left with you. And so I literally down tools. I'd got enough money in the bank, and I thought, I'm doing nothing now, because Caesar is more important to me than any paper substance that there could possibly be. So he was really good. He was always good at regulating my work anyway. If I was on the laptop and he decided I'd been on it too long, he'd walk in here and he'd stand, put his face in my face, and he would not move until I shut the laptop. You'd literally hear his thoughts going, turn it off.
I need one of them.
And he was amazing for that. He really was. And so, you know, I'd turn it off and go, yes, sunshine, come on in, we'll go out. Oh. So he was always regulating like mummy's downtime. And he always made sure if I was any sort of emotional state, he'd sort it out. He literally shouldered all my burdens. He really did. But it made me realise that that first year, how much time I'd actually spent with literally my nose to the grindstone, not relaxing and enjoying and observing and connecting. And then when he passed away last year, obviously that was, you know, bloody traumatic. But again, it made me step back. I didn't really want to do a lot of work. And I just sort of said universally, bring me enough stuff in that I'm paying my bills. And that was just little bits here and there. And what it's made me realise is I don't need a lot to be happy.
Gosh, what a beautiful, profound message for everybody so early on in the video.
Yeah. And it was beautiful in that way, because it just made me, it's made me, as you know, I've been on a journey of reconnecting back to my heart, because the thing had been shut down since I was about 10.
You had to prise it open.
Crowbar in there.
There's a little bit of surgery that had to take place there, and we're not calling that
just
in.
a little bit to get that bugger open again. And it, you know, so I've spent a lot of time. I mean, I'm fortunate in what I do, because my jobs, a lot of them I can do online. So I get to spend a lot of time at home, and it's just allowed me to now, especially since doing the Joe Dispenza workshop, now just realise that I don't need to push anymore.
No.
It's not about pushing, it's about aligning and allowing.
Yeah.
Getting into the right space.
Yeah, exactly. And resistance, you know, if you try and control something, you just get met with more resistance. Resistance meets resistance. And this is a really, really beautiful topic of conversation for this, because we are going to go back into the Joe Dispenza stuff. We are going to go back into, you know, the part 2 of healing the heart. But I actually think this is a very, very important conversation, because like you said, Wendy, you were closed down because you're constantly living outside and focusing on things out there. Likewise, I was when I worked in the investment banking world. It was constantly outside. At no point ever did I consider what was going on the inside. And there is something very freeing when you get to that point where you go, do you know what, I'm going to go and lay down and meditate. Or do you know what, I'm just going to go for a walk along the beach. And it's those moments. And over the last few days, there's been a couple of scenarios, not where I've got annoyed, because that's a really over dramatic way of saying it, but there's been something that's come up and I've wanted to respond, and then I've gone, go and meditate.
Can't be bothered.
Go to the beach or whatever. And because I've taken that approach, instantly I come back to self, I get into my heart space, and I realize that honestly, that's just so old-fashioned, having that reaction, having that moment of, you know, investing in somebody else or something else rather than you.
Powerful. I always call this like the powerful versus powerless syndrome. So I think one of the things I've learned through all the years of personal development, obviously we're still developing every day as well.
Every day.
Is that when you're focused on externals out there, and so it's like, you didn't make me happy, you know, you've made me angry. What you're doing is you're allowing your environment to dictate your personal state. That means you're powerless. That means in life you're powerless to anything, because you're saying that everybody else is the conduit of your feelings, but your feelings are on the inside of you. No one picks something up and throws it into you. They can say words and they can give energy, but it's you on the inside that creates the chemistry that runs the feeling and emotion. Absolutely. And sometimes it's really, really challenging for people to go onto the inside and go, actually, this is mine. You know, when I work with clients, we work in similar environments with clients. So the trauma stuff, a lot of people sit in victim space. I've been a victim in my life where I've gone, oh, you know, I'm like this because of you. And that's powerless. Whoa, I thought that was a cat coming over my fence, and my next door neighbour's just put my grass bag over my... How random is that? Pretty right. I thought, a giant cat. Right. It's not a giant cat. It was a bag. I have lovely neighbours.
Jaguar, or, you know, something, you know, massive like that. What a big cat.
They look after me. Down this street, it's lovely, honestly. All my neighbours look after me. They're so lovely. But anyway, yeah, back to that, you know, the victim mentality means you're powerless. When you're blaming everybody else for your experiences, you're powerless. When you go in here, and it's painful, Lucy, isn't it? When you go in here and you go, right, I'm going to take a look at myself, behaviours, language, energy, you know, habits, whatever it is, tone of voice, body language you use, and then go like, wow, I'm going to own this now. Then you can take action on it. And it's painful, because when you realise that you're blaming others for things, or you're doing all these negative things, you then You have two choices. Some people will then get worse because they can't handle the fact that they're doing it. So they make themselves feel even worse.
Yeah.
So they start the self-sabotage. Well, that's because you're useless and you're pointless and you're, so they go into that sabotaging.
And this is all you deserve.
That's it. You deserve this. You create this doom, and they end up, and some people go like I did, like, shit, all this crap. When I learned this were late 20s, early 30s, I just went, oh dear God. all this. I went home after I'd learned what I first learned with a lovely lady called Kath Temple, and I sat down and said to my other half at the time, oh dear God, this is all mine. This is all mine.
There's no running from it.
I need a drink. It's in the days when I did like a glass of vino. I was like, give me a drink. I need a drink. And I had 3 days of just literally thinking, oh no, what have I done? And running through all the stuff I'd done. And then after 3 days, I thought, right, you can create that old crap. What can you create now? Now you know this. How are we going to get there?
Yeah, bingo. I love that, babe. I love that. And I resonate with it so much. At 35 years of age, I hung my head in shame going, oh shit, I've brought in all my sickness, all my dis-ease, all of the shitty relationships, all of the, the what I now call growth. But back then I was like, why am I being hurt? And why is this happening to me? Like, poor me. Why do I have to be the one to have a drug addict as a sister? And yada, 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 yada. Poor me, poor me, poor me. When actually I had to go through all of those experiences. And actually now I'm very, very grateful to those experiences because they've made me the kind of person that I am, whereby I see somebody who, quite often I go past people and I see the fact that they're using heroin or they're using crack. And I actually have so much empathy for them. And although I will never give them money ever, no matter how much, because I know what that money will do, I will go and buy them a cup of tea, or I will go and buy them something. And that is a level of empathy. Whereas before I might have looked and been like, sort yourself out. Like, I don't know, because, I knew from a very young age about my sister. So for me, it's given me a level of empathy and a level of understanding, which at the time, back, it was a poor me. Why do I have to go through this? Why can't I be normal? Why can't I live a normal life like my friends do? When actually in reality, I was never supposed to be normal. Like, you were never supposed to be normal. Otherwise we wouldn't have had those circumstances go on. But it's the breakthrough that you get when you realize you have created it all.
Yeah, on every level. Everything you get with your parents, your friends, your family, your teachers, everything is coming from your energy. You're calling it in. And that's a really hard pill to swallow. Massively hard pill to swallow, because you go, no, they're behaving like that.
Yeah,
they're doing that.
And one of my favorites from clients, Wendy, is, well, why would I want my mum to behave like that? Like, why would I call that in? And I'm like, why have you?
Yeah, we do an interesting thing. John, my other business partner, John, is former Special Forces. I don't think you've met him yet. You will.
No, I haven't.
But we do this thing when we're going and do teacher training, all different sorts of them. We use this particular tool. This would be handy for your viewers as well. And what we do is we get people to write down with us. We go, choose someone you really admire. You really admire. It doesn't matter who they are, in what realm. It could be a friend, it could be a sports person, anything, pop star, whatever. Write down all the attributes of that person that you admire. And why you admire them, all this and that. And then we go, now think of someone who really pushes all your buttons that you don't like, that you wouldn't spend 5 minutes with because you can't bear them, and write down all the attributes. And then we get them to look at themselves, because you can only recognise in someone else what you do yourself. So when they go, like they're rude and they're condescending and all this, you go, who have you been rude to?
Yeah.
Who have you been condescending to? And they'll go, well, no one. What, you've never been condescending to someone in your life?
Exactly.
And they go,
maybe once upon a time many years ago.
Yeah. Well, we use it as a really nice reflective tool to help people stop judging.
I love that.
There's something you said about the drug addicts, it's the judgment.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that for me, again, I suppose because of the hostility environments I work in, we cannot judge anything. We have to go bias, ego, judgment. It's got to go out the window, otherwise we don't get a result.
Yeah.
So I cannot bring any of my stuff into those spaces.
Absolutely.
But the judgment, everybody is on their own journey. If you want to help someone, take your bias, ego, judgment, chuck it out the window and just go, that's an interesting map of reality.
Yeah.
How can I be more curious about that person's life rather than judging it because they haven't got the right shoes, the right hair, the right top, the right background, the right car, whatever it is. And then you're going to find you're going to get so much more joy and fulfillment out of life.
Absolutely.
Because those people that you ditch off because you judge them because of the shirt they're wearing or how they look, they could have the most interesting life experience that when you sit down and talk to them, it's like, wow, you know, I think I've heard you say this before. When you keep bumping into the same person in an airport, just have a conversation with them because there's a reason you've bumped into them 3 times.
Yeah, right. And the other little bit extra that I would like to just add on to what you said about judgment, which is so resonant, you know, it's so important that you said that, Wend. Remember, when you're judging somebody, you're judging yourself. Like, there is no if, ands, buts, or maybe about that. If you judge somebody's shoes, it's because at some point you didn't have the right shoes or you got bullied for the shoes, and it's bringing the healing into you. So remember, all of our perceived judgments are also judgments on ourselves. So it's such a mind screw life, isn't it?
Oh, massive. I mean, and that one, you know, I'm not saying there's no way I sit in the space of an angel. People call me it a lot. However, the stuff that runs through my head when I meet people, I laugh at it. I'm like, really? Really? How's that going to help you get a result with this person? They could be wonderful. So I still get rubbish run through my head. The difference being is I know how to filter it.
Yeah.
And go, that's not relevant and that's not going to help my life experience. Go away.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this person about themselves.
Yeah.
And like I say, I have some of the loveliest experiences because I do that. There was a guy I recently... this is I've not told you this, I directed a funeral for my friend. So not for her but for her mum. They wanted someone close. I'm not a funeral director, but I'm like, yeah, I'll do that if it makes you guys happy. There's a particular guy, he's one of the relatives, and everyone says he's really hard to deal with, and he's, you know, very, very funny in that, but not funny as in ha, as in
just hard work.
After the service, first of all, he shook my hand and said, thank you so much for doing that.
Aww.
Then when we got to the after, the wake, whatever you call it, he was walking about on his own. He's very old boy in his 80s, and he looked like a Gurkha. And then he came and sat down opposite me at the table, and I said to him, do you mind if I come and have a conversation with you? And I shuffled round and then started talking to him, and he was a Gurkha. Now, in my family, because of the army background, Gurkhas are held with the highest esteem and reverence. You know, if you know someone is, then you give them your full attention and respect, regardless of how they behave. It's just something that's drummed into me.
Yeah.
And as soon as I found that out, I was like, wow, you know, I want to know your life now. We sat chatting for 2 hours.
Oh, beautiful.
He grew up in Darjeeling, and, you know, telling me all about his life on tea plantations, and then going in and, you know, and coming over to the UK. And, you know, he's had a fascinating life history. Now, most people wouldn't get that, because they'd look at him, think, miserable old bugger, not going to talk to him. Whereas I just thought, curious.
Challenge.
I'm just going to shuffle around the table and just see what you're all about. And I had a lovely evening. I'm sure it made his day more pleasurable because someone paid attention to him.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Wendy. I love it.
Isn't it, Lucy?
Yeah.
I just want someone to pay attention at some point. Feel a bit of value.
And I love that you're doing that, because without even knowing, or perhaps even consciously taking a note of it, you are taking the ownership of the fact that you are working to heal your heart. And by having that conversation and shifting around those chairs, you are taking ownership. Right, I can easily close this person off. Quite obviously, they're not really that bothered about speaking to me, but I want to make the effort. So you allowed your heart to come open. And that's exactly what we were going to be talking about today, isn't it? Taking ownership on the journey, because we've spoken about what went on at Dr. Joe Dispenza's event, and it was incredible. Like, I think both of us are still flying off the back of it. Yeah. I'm still loving the meditations. I'm doing honestly, there's one meditation that I do, and within seconds of me finishing it, every time I get some gold just come in, and I'm like, my gosh, you know, because I'm so there and I'm imprinting it so deeply out into the quantum field that it's coming in instantly, because I believe it with every cell in my body.
Yeah.
So talk to me about like your take on ownership, Wendy, because we both agreed that it's all good and well going to these places. It's all good and well, you know, coming to soul school even at the weekend. People are going to come to soul school at the weekend. They're going to learn so much. There's going to be an overload of information in that one day. But it's when they go away, that's when the real work starts, right?
It's the do you do it, isn't it? Knowledge is great. I love knowledge. Do you apply it?
Yeah.
So I always put it down to, you know, I come from a sporting background. So with sport, when I was learning to play wheelchair basketball, to get to the level I got, which is the top level you could ever play, I didn't sit on my backside on a sofa, just reading a book and thinking about it. I went and trained 5-6 days a week, every single week, 3-4 hours a day to get to the level I got to. To learn the skills, to embed it in my system. So to get my body to that space. And it's no different with personal development. Yeah. It's all well and good reading the book. If you want to change your life, you have to apply the knowledge.
Firstly, you have to show up. So you have to buy the book or attend the seminar. Yeah. And a lot of people say to me, yeah, but I can't afford to do that, Lucy. And I'm like, okay, but what can you? Like, do you need to save for a year to be able to afford to go to the seminar? Like, because there is action that you can take on that. And, you know, I get, go on.
I was just going to say on that tip as well, this is what makes me chuckle a little bit. So people will go and spend £3.50 on a latte from Starbucks. If you're getting one of them a week, it's £14 a month. £14 a month. Times that by your year, you're looking at 160 quid. Yeah. So that could buy you a little online course. Just the fact that you stop having a latte and just drink one at home. But there'll be a lot of other things as well that you'll be doing.
Like cigarettes. People buy, cigarettes, cigarettes are so expensive now. I mean, I used to smoke many, many years ago, but I haven't smoked in 11 years. But I've been told cigarettes are like 10, 12, 15 quid a pack these days. You know, you look at, I used to be a 20 a day smoker, so I'd be absolutely broke these days if I smoked. But, you know, just look at how can you cut down certain things to be able to get the money to invest in yourself. Because this is it. It boils down to self-love. Do you love yourself enough to invest in you? You know, and with all due respect, ladies and gents, cigarettes, okay, it's investing in you, but it's investing in hurting you.
Yeah, I was a smoker I started smoking when I was 9 years old. I stopped when I know, darling. I grew up in a pub. I got in with the wrong people very early.
Right.
So it was part of my life.
I started at 15, 16, but I thought that was young, mate.
We're getting early. But I stopped. I think my mum will tell you exactly when, because I think I stopped smoking 15 years ago. And all I did was I got to the point where my mum had got COPD. I heard her coughing one day and thought, I do not want to be in that space. And I read a book. I'm going to pimp it out in here. Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking for Women. Very important, the women's one. I read the book twice, put a roll up out. That was it, done. I've never touched one since.
That's amazing. Good for
so
you.
Anyone who says, you know, it's hard, it's a challenge, whatever you're running, if you think it's hard and a challenge, it'll be a hard challenge.
So Mark Atwood, if you're watching this video, buy the book for men, my friend.
Yes.
I always nag him about smoking.
So it is that, it's just that, it's the doing though, isn't it? This is the thing, like you say, you know, people say it's hard financially. There'll be something you can change to access it. There's so many things on YouTube as well. You know, you don't necessarily need to go to a seminar. I've found so much really interesting stuff on YouTube. It's just spending the time to sit down and absorb the information and then apply it.
But also calling yourself out on your excuses, you know, because we all have a lack of time, a lack of finances, a lack of this, a lack of that. Recognize when you are giving yourself an excuse not to show up. Like, recognize it, because that's a part of the first process, and that is actually putting yourself in an environment where you are willing to learn. Like, I've just started learning a new language, for example. I've been putting this off since 2014. Like, you know, I've put it off for such a long period of time, and then I've gone, what on earth are you waiting for? Like, stop creating excuses. Oh, I don't have time. I've got a lot on my plate. Courses, all the rest of it. And actually, I'm really excited that I'm now doing that, you know, because it's something that I've been really passionate for a very long time of. But I think I was scared. I was scared about, how am I going to learn this? How is it going to integrate into my life? So, you know, first and foremost, call yourself out on it, and then put yourself into a position whereby you can learn, whether it's online, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's books, whether it's YouTube, like Wendy said a second ago. Then it's about showing up and getting that work done, isn't it? So we went to Dr. Joe Dispenza's, we showed up, and my God, did we show up.
Oh, yes. All in for the 7 days we were there.
I'm missing those like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning starts though, aren't you?
You know what? I am. And the funny thing is, my unconscious still wakes me up at certain times.
Amazing.
As if it goes, hello, would you like to do a pineal gland meditation? And I always have now, I'll have my iPod next to the bed with my headphones. And if I get woken up at that sort of time, I just go, yes, actually, I'll take you up on that. Flop the old headphones on and I go back to sleep. I'm sure I do. Yeah. But I'll stick the meditation on while I'm
still going
back to sleep. And I'm still doing 3 hours a day.
Good for you. So I'm doing about an hour and a half, 2 hours, but that's, you know, good for you doing 3 hours. God, I'd love to go. I really just want to go back and do 7 hours a day.
Yeah, same here. And
I'm so happy.
This is the other part as well. When you're feeling like so I've had a few days where I've been a little bit off kilter. So what I've done is I've turned my phone off and I've gone inside. So I've spent the time laying on the sofa going, right, which one of these do I feel like doing? That one. Boom, headphones on, eye blind on. I'm going to go inside, you know, choosing ones. Like this morning when I woke up, I was having a weird dream. And when I woke up, I was feeling a bit like, whoa, I'm not happy. And I thought, one of the love ones. I need to fill my body with some love this morning before I even start. So I just went and sat on my sofa, headphones on, half an hour, just of one of the love meditations. Once that was done, it was like, oh, there we go. Chemistry's moving. I'll go and get a coffee now.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It's choosing what suits the time, not doing it because I have to meditate.
Yeah.
But doing it because it's like, really fancy imagineering my future.
Yeah.
Thinking, turn the TV off. I'm going to go lay down for 2 hours, headphones on, and use my play box, the inside play box to imagine where I want to go.
Yeah.
And that's choice, Luce, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's choice. It's that moment when yesterday I wanted a distraction for an hour, but it was purposeful distraction. So I thought, I'm just going to turn on the programmer. I'm going to go straight on Netflix and I'm going to find something that's about an hour long that I want to watch. And I did. I found just a really funny thing and put that on, watched that for an hour. And as soon as it was done, bonk, it went off. It didn't then stay on for the rest of the day. It's just that was all I wanted, was that 1 hour of distraction.
And that's okay. But this is the pockets that we need to lay out for ourselves, right? And in healing ourselves and in healing our heart, we do need moments of distraction, you know, because every morning when I go out for my run, so I do a load of rituals and everything in the morning, and then I go out for a big long run, you know, 10 kilometers, well, about 11, 12 kilometers to Sandbanks and back from where I am. And then at the moment, I've been doing ocean swimming. But for me, I distract myself when I'm running because I just allow the flow. And it's not really distraction at all. It's actually consuming everything inwards. But for me, that is a really beautiful time of just having those moments. The ocean swimming has been hilarious, Wendy. I went in yesterday. It was so bloody cold. Today wasn't so bad, but yesterday it was like an ice box. It was just so weird. And I was like, what are you doing, Lucy? But I'm the same as you. There are pockets of my day where I need to distract myself, you know, and I think it's good to own that and honor that, you know, because if you're constantly focused, whether it be on work or learning or anything, you're going to get tired of it. You're going to get bored of it.
Yeah, it's just keeping, you know, what happens is with our programming, I mean, you know, I work in programming. So we're programmed units. You know, we have all this past programming that you think about it, it's not yours.
No.
It's all stuff that society has brought in and, you know, all the other systems that we're involved in, your family, your friends, the media you watch, the schooling you go through. We have to be programmed in a way so we can function.
Yeah.
But the programming we've all been running for so long is not the programming that nurtures you, that expands your heart, that gets you to connect to the unified field and start creating the lifestyle you want. It's that must work, get stuff, be someone,
be friends, be busy.
Rather than the stopping and the tuning in. And, you know, we're never taught. The thing is, when you're not taught, you get to a certain point over 25 years old, most of your programming's in and it's running for you. So you can get dressed, get on, drive a car, you know, all that stuff, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So a lot of your belief systems are set in and you're just running stuff and thinking this is life and how it needs to be.
Yeah.
So getting out of that, when you become aware, like you're saying, you start focusing the brain. This is your heart's your main brain. It's got over 40,000 sensory neurites in this thing. It stores emotion and memory separate to this thing. You know, then your gut, you've got your gut that runs after your heart. This thing, the heart sends 9 times more signals up to the brain than the brain sends down. That's got to tell you something.
Exactly.
Get tuned in. When you tune into it, you know, start living more heart-based living, whatever that means, for yourself first, and then that will go. Once you start doing it for yourself, you'll naturally want to do it for others.
Yeah, and also on that, because a lot of people always go, oh yeah, but it's so selfish, you know, I've got children, or I've got this, or I've got that. The thing is, when you embody love, everybody around you gets permission to embody it too. And that's the missing link, and that's how they've preyed on us for all these years, is that they've preyed on the fact that children must come first. And I agree, children should come first. However, if you don't demonstrate to them the way that they are empowered to live from a space of love, how the heck are they ever going to know it?
Yeah.
And the only way they're going to know it is by witnessing it from the ones that are around them, setting the standards.
We're teaching them how to be. So I always call it self first, not selfish. I've changed the word. It's self first.
Love that.
So for me, if I'm in a good space and heart coherence is up, body coherence is up, and then people wander into my environment that are stressed and having an issue, I can emanate my energy field into them, because people always go, oh, you're so calming to be around. You know, I don't know, I just love talking to you about things because it all becomes so easy. It's because I'm coherent before I go into the space.
Yeah.
So my coherence, they always say that the more coherent you are, the bigger electromagnetic field you're generating.
Absolutely right.
The bigger that field is, because the people who are stressed out, their field shrinks. So when they come into contact with your field, their energy goes, oh, I want some of this.
Yeah.
So they'll benefit from your energy. It's proven.
Absolutely.
It's proven that you expand your electromagnetic field, everything around you benefits. Why would you not want to do this on a daily basis?
Exactly. And so when we are stepping into this space of recognizing what we need as a human, as a being, whatever you resonate with as the being, when you can recognize by stepping into your heart space is actually saying, okay, I'm going to take ownership for this. I am going to take the time to meditate. I am going to take the time to go in the bloody freezing cold ocean, or whatever resonates with you. And I'm not saying it's the same for every single person. Like, we're all different things spark us, you know, different things bring us online, different things activate us, and we must empower each other to be able to do that. But there are a couple of other things. So taking ownership is one thing. You know, are you actually doing the work, or are you pretending to do the work? There are a couple of other things that I know we spoke about before we came on here earlier today. And, you know, listening is a massive part of ownership and doing the work, right?
It's not all about you, is it? This is something that just makes me laugh. So, and what I mean by that, viewers, when someone is talking to you, do you actively listen? Now, from a neuroprogramming perspective, we all talk in different language. So, you know, I cover all of them just because of how I've been trained. I make sure my vocal range goes through everybody's what we call modalities. So are you audio, kinesthetic, visual, or we speak in these ways as well. Yeah. Now, what the brain does is it filters information that's relevant to it. So while someone's talking to you, if you're not paying attention, your brain is going, words irrelevant, subjects irrelevant. And then they'll go, what do you think? And you go, oh, sorry, I got a bit distracted. You'll have to say it again, because your brain naturally will filter. To stop that happening, listen, just pay attention, put your phone down, stop queuing up what you're going to say that's, you know, you think is relevant. And how many of us, when someone goes, oh, my experience is this, and you go, yeah, well, my experience is this, and stop talking about yourself. This is one of the biggest challenges for people, like, to up level their personal development, because that's ego. When someone says something, and then, like Caroline Mice, I don't know if you've ever...
Yeah.
She does the energetics of healing, right? Wound sharing. Oh, my leg hurts. Yeah, my back hurts today. Oh, my head was hurting yesterday. My finger was hurting yesterday. You know, we do love...
a lot of that.
to talk about ourselves and share wounds, right? What would happen if you stopped it? How much better would you feel within yourself? And this is self-validation, isn't it? So when we talk to others and we're not listening and we start applying, you know, what ours is and our comparison to that, we're sort of trying to get validation from the outside in. If you stop it, this is a real good personal development tool. Stop doing that. Stop relaying your life to someone else when they're talking. Then you can start validating yourself for your own daily actions and behaviours. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Because we're just taught to, like, you know, I heard a friend the other day, someone said they'd seen a speaker and he was amazing and he did this, and then my friend just went, yeah, I know how they feel because I've got this in my body and I do this, and it's like this validation of I'm important, I'm special as well. It's getting to the point where you feel it on the inside of you, you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So, and that comes through listening, pulling the ego in and going, I don't need to refer my story. I'm just going to genuinely listen to this person and feel the energy.
Yeah.
And go, you know, and if they want, ask them questions around things.
Yeah.
Rather than have to refer your life as a pattern match.
Yeah, it's a very common thread at the moment, Wen, isn't it? It's a very common thread. You know, I don't often comment or scroll or anything like that on social media, but what I'm noticing a lot of at the moment is that there is, you know, even on some of the videos that I do, that's what happens. People kind of like verbal diarrhea their stuff over you, and I get it, but it's a real beautiful tool when you can just sit back and listen. You know, and your ego might be piping up in the background going, hey, shithead, I said this yesterday, but you haven't fucking listened to me. Do you get what I mean? But just recognize that's your inner voice. That's your stuff to deal with. Why aren't you being heard? Like, did you say it in the way that this person's saying it? Or, you know, and just bringing that kind of alignment into your life, because let's just free each other.
Pretty much. And that freedom, I mean, if you can hold space for someone to talk, like I say, with, you know, that guy that I spoke to, for the Gurkha I spoke to for 2 hours, not once did I tell him anything about myself.
Oh.
Not once. And it was just because I was so interested. And I'd be like, wow, how was that? Like, he was talking about the hills where all the tea was growing. And I was like, wow, what does sunsets look like and sunrise?
Beautiful.
And, you know, what did you do in the evening and through that? And I was just asking him questions about his life. And I had a blissful 2 hours just experiencing someone else's life.
Yeah, immersed in the visuals that you were getting from him, right? Amazing.
I didn't want to tell him anything about me, because it was like, I'm experiencing your life.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's how I view people. I think for me to expand my life experience, listen to them. Yeah. Ask them questions about how that felt and where did they go and what did that look like and what did that smell like and what did that taste like. You get the experience on the inside of you, so you're actually getting their experience.
And you're expanding consciousness with that, right? You know, that's what's happening by asking questions and allowing them to re-imprint these memories. You're actually helping the collective consciousness by doing that.
Yeah, we're sharing the love in the community. We want to come back to love and community, don't we? That's what it's all about. It's, you know,
absolutely.
It's that. So how do you play that every day?
Exactly.
How are you showing up? Like we say with the ownership, how are you showing up and doing what you really want to see?
Yeah.
Are you doing it? You know, if
you want to do,
you want to see more compassion, how are you giving compassion? You want to see more love, how are you giving more love? Yeah. What can that be like? You know, what does that look like? So all of these things that we want to see the change of, we have to start on the inside of us first for people around us to feel it. And it's to go into the unified field. There's no separation, is there, Lucy?
No, exactly. And everything that's annoying you is your own stuff coming back to you to remind you that you've got to heal it, and everything that you're putting out, you're experiencing more of. So you are absolutely right, Wendy. We need to be really cognizant of the information and the actions that we are taking on a day-to-day basis. And I agree with you. Active listening is something that is so undervalued, underrated.
Because it's what you think of the society we've grown up in, all the social media of, you know, I'm going to try not to go off in a random thing, because I was talking to mum and dad about this earlier, about, you know, the visuals of what people expect a woman to be like. And me and my sister, you say yourself included, are the polar opposite.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not being, there's a hammer, next to me because yesterday I was doing stuff with the hammer. You know, these shelves, I put shelves up, I paint walls, I can fix ceilings, I can plaster, I can tile a bathroom and a floor, I can build walls. It's just so I'm diversifying, but it's just this picture of reality that's been created has been put there for people to feel bad about themselves, because all of the social media that you see is to create, you know, it's not there to create you feeling happy, is it?
No.
And like,
create comparison,
which then makes you feel, because I haven't got the lips like, you know, I would never do anything cosmetically to myself anyway. But it's, you know, it is that, you know, I don't have the cleavage I must need to have. If I'm going to get a decent man, I need bigger boobs, or I need to get my lips done, or, you know, whatever it is. It's this comparative, not feeling happy about self, but having to
keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, put things all over the place to and that's the same with life, like we say, when, you know, the work. Stop comparing what everybody else is doing. Stop
focus on self.
Pedestals. You put someone on a pedestal, the first thing you're doing is you're taking away from yourself, because there's no separation between any of us.
Yeah, literally, we give the power away at that point. As soon as somebody is elevated, that's it. You know,
the people I've put on pedestals within a short period of time have fallen off. Then that leads to massive disappointment.
Yeah,
I stopped doing that years ago.
Good for
All I
you.
thought was, they've got a lovely range of knowledge that I think I'd like to learn.
Yeah.
Rather than like, oh, they're so much better than me. Do you know what I mean? They're like, it's not, no, actually, we all have the ability to be that within ourselves. It's just a different range of knowledge that someone has.
Yeah. So this is why that guru thing's never really resonated with me. You know, like I get it completely. And, you know, a few people have reached out to me before and said, oh, I really appreciate your perspective, Lucy. But, and again, I'm open to everybody. This is just my personal perspective. But for me, the whole guru thing is very out of date. We are all our own guru, you know, and that's how we should be living, is we should look to ourselves for the answers for everything, because we know better than anybody else.
Yeah, I grew up with a couple of sayings in our family. Everybody's money is the same colour, and no man stands above another.
No.
So growing up in a pub, we had judges, barristers, tramps, normal people, normal jobs, you know, that we had people come in from all different walks of life. And my mum and dad always said, you treat that person the same as that person.
Yeah, right.
The only time it differs is if they're rude to you, you put them in their place.
Yeah. Yeah,
there is no room for rudeness in this environment.
Yeah.
And that's a very, you know, it's a leveler. When you're taught that, it is so, you know, I don't care what job you do, you're a living, breathing being.
Yeah.
So if I walk into an environment, I'll say good morning to the security guards, ask them how their day's been.
Too. I used to high five them. Yeah.
The person pushing the mop, how you doing? You having a good day? The person serving me my dinner, thank you very much, really appreciate it, have a lovely day. You know, because everybody has value. There's no difference between any of us. It's just how we've been programmed to perform. And any of us can change that if we just make the decision to, like you say, reconnect in here.
Exactly.
Reconnecting here. You can change what you do any day of the week.
Exactly.
Firstly, you have to reconnect in here and then make a decision that I want to change. Not for anybody else, but you want to change for you. And when you truly make that decision and that clicks in, you will then put the work in to make the change.
Absolutely.
There's no difference between a tramp and a billionaire. It's just the choices they made.
Exactly.
That's it. It literally is that. It's just the choices you make in that moment will direct where you're going.
Exactly. Oh, I love speaking to you, Wendy. I'm so bloody glad that you're coming to Soul School on Saturday. Honestly, I'm so excited to give you a big squeeze. I love it when we all get back together.
Yeah.
We will be back. We should do another one of these at some point, hopefully in the next 4 weeks.
Yes.
Because the 4 weeks pass really quickly, don't they? But we will be back to do another one of these. I quite like this, where we're talking about heart, getting back into alignment, you know, taking the right steps, and just having a conscious conversation about this stuff, to be honest with you.
And I think it helps people, doesn't it? I mean, when they realise that, you know, a lot of people look at me and go, oh, you know, you've got everything together and that. And it's like, yeah, I might look like it, but I'm like a duck on a pond a lot of the time. I look all lovely up here, but I'm doing this. under the water. I'm no different to anybody else. It's just I'm aware of myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So when stuff happens, I've got a lot of tools now. I've learned this. You know, me and you have both been doing this for me a lot longer. I've got 20 years on you, haven't I? I'm 50, but we've been doing this a long time. A long time. That means we've just built up our skill set. We've learned some stuff, and every day's a school day for me. Yeah. I learn something new about myself every day, and then go, right, I think I should be applying that now. Yes, right, I'm going to work on that. So it's just
it's the humility, isn't it, of just remembering and learning, and you know, not holding yourself hostage when you realise that actually you may have screwed up. It's as simple as that. It's just being gentle. Yeah, right.
Think of me on the treadmill yesterday, pulled up against the wall for 10 minutes. That's another story, guys. That's why I'm making Lucy laugh or something. But that is like, how do we not do that next time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn and apply some new knowledge.
Oh, Wendy, it's amazing to see you. Ladies and gents, if you would like to join us in Bournemouth this weekend coming, it is the 24th, Saturday the 24th of September. There are still a few tickets left for Soul School for the weekend. Not very many, but there are still a few. I don't think they'll allow me to add any more seats in. They've let me add more in once, so I don't think they'll let me add them in again. But if you do want to join us, if you do want to come and hear Wendy and myself speak, plus a whole other panel of beautiful, beautiful guests, then please do check the description field below and the link will be in there for you. Wendy, any parting words of wisdom, my friend?
Just, you know, shit happens, get on with it. Pretty much. How's that for an end?
I love the words of wisdom. I mean, what can I say after that? Ladies and gents, mwah. Good to have you with us. Thanks for watching, and we will be back super soon. Wendy, thank you, my darling. Love you loads.
My pleasure, as always, Liz.
Cheers, guys.